So I think it's 7 o'clock Indian time. So welcome everybody to day 6 of the Days of Miracles. We are moving along fast. Today we have a very special guest, Venerable Namjong, who is just coming from Hawaii, his homeland, arrived just a few days ago in France, in our beautiful sister center, sister monastery, called Nalanda. Yeah, it's in a very beautiful part of France, if you ever wanted to visit. And Venerable Namjong, yes, comes from the US, from Hawaii, and has almost finished the study program, which is an amazing achievement. The Geshe program, they call it, in Sera Monastery, is one of the big monasteries the Tibetans rebuilt when after they came into exile after 1959. And there's how many months studying there? 5,000 both together?
Yeah, between Sarah J and Sarah May, maybe a little less, over 4,000, maybe
Over 4,000.
4,500, maybe.
And two handful of Westerners. And Venerable Namjong almost finished. You joined 2006, Venerable Namjong?
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
So, wow, that
But
is.
but but who's counting?
No, it's mind-boggling. How many years? My mathematics, 13 plus 17 years. Amazing, amazing, amazing. A great achievement. It's very inspiring. And Venerable Namjong loves, like most of us, the Golden Light Sutra because it's one of the main advices of Lama Zopa Rinpoche to read this very precious sutra. For all the centers, especially in areas of war, to dispel any hindrances, obstacles, the elements. So Venerable Namjong will tell us all about it today. And we, as I mentioned yesterday, we read the Golden Light Sutra every day of the Days of Miracles, but only here at Tushita, because we all gather around Lama Yeshe Stupa. If you know Tushita, you know what I'm talking about, and reading it out in the sun, because we have been having sun every single day. It gets quite crisp here at night, but during the day it's beautiful and sunny, and then it's a little bit difficult to make it hybrid. But we have been reading it, and I know many centers of the FPMT centers around the world are reading it as well. And that's very inspiring because in the different time zones, somebody is reading it somewhere. So thank you so much, Venerable Namjongla, for joining us today and guiding us during this very auspicious time in the reading of the Golden Light Sutra. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. There was one mistake, Kunpen. I didn't arrive here
Yes,
2 days
which
ago.
one? Please tell me.
I arrived here at midnight. So
Oh, today, only today.
yeah.
Oh my
So it,
goodness.
it's good. It'll give it that
Okay.
extra
Thank you so
spice.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Namrata.
thank you. Well, thank you very much, Kunpen, for inviting me to take part in this very special event on these Days of Miracles. And thank you everyone for joining from all over the world. I think it's very amazing that we all have the opportunity to take time out of our schedules to come together and practice Dharma, accumulate merit, especially on these days of miracles, which I think many of you know. Um, the first 15 days of the Tibetan New Year are known as the Days of Miracles. Historically, during the Buddha's time, these first 15 days, the Buddha was traveling around in northern India, and there were some uh, Tirthikas, or like some non-Buddhist yogis and sages who were trying to challenge the Buddha to perform these various feats of miracles. And so that the Buddha could sort of inspire the faith in the community, then would sort of travel and perform different miraculous displays on different days. And in so doing, many of the followers of these other non-Buddhist teachers then gained faith in the Buddha and became his followers. So um, these first 15 days of the new year um, are said that any virtuous action that we undertake, the merit multiplies by 100 million times. So it's very important that we take the best use of this opportunity, and in so doing, it's like we're basically set up for the rest of the year, right? So normally, um, yeah, I like to think about that. That these first 15 days, if we practice well, we can sort of clear away obstacles and gain merit that is going to become the cause for our success in all of our studies or practice, all the way up to the state of enlightenment. So yeah, we should all rejoice. And so now at the beginning of our session, I thought that we could do a little bit uh, going over um, some of the benefits, some of the advice Rinpoche himself gave in regard to the sutra, and had stated the importance for his students to recite this. And he once gave the advice that all of his students should try to recite it at least once per year. So I know looking at the schedule in the past few days uh, in the program that had been arranged by Tushita in Dharamsala, there were a few of the other more senior experienced students would share many stories about, of course, uh, our late Guru Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Lama Yeshe as well. And I know, well, me personally, I didn't have the good fortune to meet Lama Yeshe, but I did have the good fortune to receive a few teachings from Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And as many of you know, he took the aspect of passing away into parinirvana, or last year. And I know that many of you who are also students of him, there was a sense of being, very lost and thinking, okay, well, now what? Our guide, our guru, now we can no longer receive the direct teachings and advice. Um, and yeah, thinking in this way, uh, yeah, just feeling what kind of where am I going to go with my life? What am I going to do? And to be very honest, some months ago, that led to quite a feeling of yeah, being lost and not quite hopeless, but just being without a guide. But our other very good friend, Geshe Tenzin Lexo, I was talking to him about this, and he mentioned to me, well, on the good hand, right, on the good side, we all have received so much teachings and advice from Rinpoche over the years that we now, we know what Rinpoche would advise for us to do in our lives. And so, although we can no longer receive the direct teachings and guidance from him, today in the form that we were used to, uh, these various teachings that we'd received, all the advice that we received in the past, it's not that goes out the window. Um, and all of the good folks at FPMT, uh, recording the teachings, transcribing the teachings, making these teachings available on YouTube, on the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive page, on FPMT education site. There's so many tremendous resources for us now to read, to listen to again, and to most importantly, put into practice. So with that, I wanted to just jump right into it. And so now, this uh, Golden Light Sutra, I will share now in the uh, oops. Okay, I'll share it later. Um, this one, there are, I think some of you know, this Golden Light Sutra, there are three lengths, there's three versions of the sutra. There's the most extensive, which is in 31 chapters. There's the middle length one, which is in 29 chapters. And then there's this one, which is in 21 chapters. And so this is available for download. I will share it in the Zoom chat in a little bit. Um, but here we see in the preface this advice from Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So what I thought we could do is I'll just read through this and yeah, far be it from me to commentate on Rinpoche's words. And nonetheless, I will maybe say just a few things in terms of clarifying. So let's see. Okay, that's a bit better, right? So here, reading from the preface to the Golden Light Sutra, this is a teaching Rinpoche gave on it. So this text is very precious. It brings peace and happiness and is very powerful to stop violence. By hearing this text, one's karma is purified. So here, this motivation, um, this is a bodhicitta motivation. So as I read it, we can even, motivate ourselves to coming to this very session and reading the sutra. We can generate this motivation right now. So to please then think that the purpose of our lives is to benefit others. We can bring others the happiness of this life, but the happiness of all coming future lives is more important. And more important than that is bringing sentient beings to liberation, which is free forever from the suffering of samsara. Most beneficial is to bring them to the ultimate great liberation, full enlightenment. That is the greatest service and benefit for sentient beings. To do this, we must first achieve full enlightenment ourselves. So some of you'll see actually even containing in this paragraph are the three sort of motivations that we find for practicing Dharma within the Lam Rim or the stages of path to enlightenment. So of course, more important than the happiness of just this life is having the happiness in future lives. So that is the motivation of the so-called small scope practitioner. And then, even more important than having happiness in future lives is the happiness of liberation. And then, more important than that is the great liberation of full enlightenment. So, yeah, to do that, then we must first achieve full enlightenment ourselves. So this wish then to achieve enlightenment so we can be of utmost benefit and service to sentient beings is the mind that we call bodhicitta. So yeah, please try to generate that thought. And then for the success in attaining the whole path to enlightenment, listen, or in our case, also recite the Golden Light Sutra. This sutra directs our lives towards enlightenment. It helps us not to be reborn in lower realms. The very first thing, the immediate danger that we need to stop immediately without delaying even 1 second is rebirth in lower realm. We need a higher rebirth so we can continue to practice Dharma. So here, although we have this motivation to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, and also it is theoretically possible to achieve enlightenment in this very lifetime, in this very body that we all have. Uh, Unfortunately, although there are some cases of great yogis in the past, most famous being Milarepa, attaining enlightenment in one lifetime, well, if you see the kind of effort that Milarepa put toward his practice, spending, many years in isolated retreat in the mountains, and yeah, basically practicing nonstop day and night. And then we compare that to the amount of effort we put into our Dharma practice, then yeah, sorry to burst your bubble, but it's yeah, highly unlikely that we will achieve enlightenment in this lifetime if we continue to practice at the level we've been practicing. So given that's the case, well, we need to then achieve a good rebirth in our next life, not because, a good rebirth will have wealth or will have power, but we want to have this kind of perfect human rebirth that has access to Dharma teachings and Dharma teachers. Um, and then after stringing such good rebirths, uh, in the future, where we continue to make progress along the path to enlightenment, then we can eventually achieve the goal of enlightenment. Okay? So in order to do that, we need to purify our negative karma, which are causes of rebirth in the lower realms. And so then all negative karma is purified by listening to the sutra. It says so in the introduction, right? Then this text increases success, and especially for leaders like kings or presidents, it brings success to their guiding in virtue, the path to happiness. If you have problems for anyone dying or dead, or if the devas have turned against you and nothing is working, or if merely by expressing yourself, your friends, loved ones, husband, wife, family members, and even servants get angry with you, if your wealth declines, or if you have harm from black magic or spirits, or if you have bad dreams or fearful things happening, then for all of these problems you should wash, put on clean clothes, and with a peaceful mind listen to the transmission of this text. Then all will be pacified. Anyone who hears it creates much merit and is highly admired by the Buddhas. So I think some of you know, but it's worth mentioning. Um, this transmission or oral transmission of the text to the loom. So this is a practice whereby a master giving the loom reads out the particular text, and they will have received then the lineage of that text from their master, who in a similar way would read out the text, and going back all the way to the original author of the text. Here in this case, since it's a sutra, the original author, it's the words of the Buddha himself. So in an unbroken lineage, still in the Tibetan tradition, all of the sutras, all of the kangyur, as it's called in Tibetan, the transmission, the lineage of those oral transmissions are unbroken. And so Lama Zopa Rinpoche himself was, very uh, assiduous in receiving the rare oral transmissions, trying to collect all of them, and then also making sure that some of these lineages don't pass out or, yeah, disappear from the world. And so now, in the context of this sutra, the Golden Light Sutra, he did give the oral transmission of it in, I think it was, well, he's given it at many centers. Well, I should say, he started to give it in many centers around the world. Um, and I know in Delhi, they also have a Tushita center in Delhi. Rinpoche did for two separate visits give the oral transmission, but he was not able to finish the entire text. But I think in Bendigo, Australia, he gave the full transmission of the text, and that transmission is available on YouTube. So if you look it up, you'll be able to see. I think it's something like 5 hours and 39 minutes. But he also mentioned that then those who listen to the recording of the oral transmission, they themselves will also receive it. So the benefit of receiving this the oral transmission of the text are many. One is that then when you later recite the text, the power of your recitation increases by 100-fold. And then it is also said that when we study or contemplate the text that we receive oral transmissions of, then it becomes a lot easier to gain realization. And then looking a little bit further ahead, once we become bodhisattvas and we receive or attain the so-called great uh, stage of the path of accumulation, then all of the texts that we've ever, from beginningless samsara rebirth, received oral transmission, then we will remember those texts sort of, word for word. And that becomes then, so much uh, easier than to meditate. Um, well, of course, if you're involved in a Geshe study program, it will help with your exam. But in any case, then for our further study and practice, to have such memory of all the texts we've received the oral transmission of is, highly, highly beneficial. And therefore, many of the Tibetans, they will spend a lot of time and energy receiving these oral transmissions um, with this view, a very long-term viewpoint. So continuing on, in whichever country this is taught, the whole country will benefit. The king of that country will not be attacked, and disease will be eliminated. Everyone will be happy, and the country will become harmonious and without quarrels. The king will give religious freedom and will always be protected by the devas. It is especially good to read this in places where there is a lot of fighting. As well, there will be prosperity and rains will come at the right time. It would be excellent to go into countries where there is much killing and read this precious sutra 100 times or any number of times. This would be very valuable, very beneficial. So in the text, there is yeah, many of the various chapters talk about different devas, the earth goddess Dirda, the four guardian kings, um, the Samjana, the king of the Yakshas, all who make sort of special promises to benefit the beings who read, recite, or teach this sutra. And they also make a lot of commitments to make sure that the rain falls at the right time, that the crops will be excellent and good, also that war be averted, and so forth. So here, just one idea for you. I always, well, when I remember, when I'm traveling here and there, sometimes I'll even have a few hour layover in a particular city, and I'll try to at least recite a few pages of the sutra. So just within the past month. I've recited this sutra in part of the sutra, at least in India, in Korea, in Hawaii. I just was in London for a few hours on my way here, uh, and then now today in France. So all of you all over the world, then it's very, very beneficial. You are bringing so much benefit to all the other sentient beings in whatever lands you're residing right now, even they never met you, you know, even they don't know you're reciting the sutra, you're bringing a lot of benefit to them, and that's so wonderful. Okay, so anyone who keeps, memorizes, or contributes to this text exceeds the eight worldly beings, and all their wishes will be fulfilled. Buddha told the four guardians to make offerings and serve the text, and then to always protect the people who memorize or even just read it. The four guardians acknowledged that they would protect those who read it and would help and fulfill all their wishes. Memorizing or making offerings to this text is like making inconceivable offerings to Buddha. Enlightenment will never be reversed for anyone into whose ear these holy words are spoken. Um, the life will always be directed toward enlightenment, and one will never fall back. The Deva Hamachiwa Pala told Buddha that she will protect the bhikshu who recites this text and he will receive all that is needed, property, a stable mind, and so forth. Whoever even tries to read or understand this text will experience the comfort and happiness of devas and humans for 100 billion eons, fame and perfect crops, and will become a Buddha. The earth goddess definitely will help, even if only one chapter on Bodhisattva's name is mentioned. She will protect those sinning beings who read and try to understand even one verse and will fulfill their wishes. Those sinning beings who hear only one verse will never go to lower realms. Buddha told the earth goddess that even if a person hears only one verse, they will be born in the Deva realm. Further, the Buddha told the earth goddess the non-virtuous karma of the person who hears even one verse will be eliminated and they will achieve enlightenment. So with all of these benefits in mind, then you know Rinpoche, uh, I don't know if some of you probably have had requested Rinpoche to give you the so-called life practices. So if you received, such a letter from Rinpoche, he would, check your karma and basically tell you all the various practices that you should do in your life. And in that letter, even if you didn't get it, I'll explain to you what's in there. There's an uncommon part that's personalized just for you. And then after that, there's a more common advice for all of his students. And so even if you didn't receive, direct advice, then the general advice, we can still put into practice and apply. And in that section of the letter, the things that he had recommended were prostrations of the 35 Buddhas in the morning, uh, then the Vajrasattva practice at night before bed. So those are two very powerful purification practices. As we saw, then the thing that we have to ensure with the most urgency is that we get a good rebirth in our next life, and that is only going to come through the purification of negative karma and the accomplishment of virtue. So there's those two. And then Rinpoche also advised the recitation of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of the Buddha of compassion. So, of course, not just reciting the mantra, but meditating on compassion and bodhicitta. And then the fourth practice he advised for everyone was the Medicine Buddha mantra, especially. So that one, of course, there's tremendous benefit for those who are sick or unwell. But more generally than the Medicine Buddhas, they made also various promises to help beings of this time, this degenerate age, this Kali Yuga, um, and to help accomplish all the wishes of the practitioners in this era. So we'll see that at the end of the dedication, there's a section in the FNT prayer book where there's the multiplying mantras, and in that one will recite the name of Medicine Buddha. So it's good not just for illness, but for any of our holy wishes uh, to be achieved. And then the fifth practice that he had recommended for all of his students was to recite this Golden Light Sutra. So even with a few pages a day, um, as an example, this is, um, you know, 120 pages or so in this version. And so even if one recites one page a day, then over the course of a year, one will recite it 3 times, right? So in any case, yeah, is that enough advertising? Um, yeah, as we read through it, then you'll see a lot of the benefits being explained by these various, devas and other beings. So that's good. There's half an hour introduction, also setting our motivation. So let's jump right into the sutra. Um, and what I thought we could do, we can recite for about 40 minutes or so. And then I wanted to also do some prayers, dedication prayers in general, and then also prayers for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And then maybe we can have a brief question and answer at the end. Okay? So that is that. Now, switching gears here, it says guide to reciting the Sangata Sutra. So the Sangata Sutra is another very powerful sutra that was also recommended by Lama Zopa Rinpoche to recite for accumulation of merit and purifying negativities. But actually, this advice that is then given, it can be used and applied to the recitation of any text. So not only Sangata Sutra, Golden Light Sutra, Vajrakara Sutra, names of Manjushri, any text that we are reciting, then we should keep these guidelines in mind. Okay. So the basic guidelines, whichever sutra, it can be recited in any language. So here, the Golden Light Sutra, if you look on the web page of FPMT, you'll see that it's, of course, in Tibetan, in English, but it is has been translated in many, many, many languages. Um, so, yeah, probably, uh, yeah, here it said currently in 11 languages, and now it probably is up to maybe 15, even 20. So, of course, today we're going to recite in English, but if you're, uh, if you have a better language, then most likely it's available in that language. Okay? Oh, thank you. So in the Zoom chat, we have that. Okay. So there's no prerequisite for reciting, no initiation, transmission, teachings, or permission are required. Anyone can recite at any time. Yes, that is true. Of course, as I mentioned, if you do have the transmission, then it is more powerful. So yeah, you can do that on your own time. Then this is very important that we recite out loud. Um, so even if it's just very, uh, you know, quiet, as they say in some texts, it should be loud enough, that you're at least making some sound. Um, of course, if you have pets or, someone that won't be disturbed by it, you can do it in an audible way. But yeah, maybe not good to yeah, disturb your neighbors with it, especially at different hours in the night. Okay. But in any case, we recite it out loud, and then, um, as we do the recitation, we will visualize all the sentient beings in the space around us. So we can at least think that we are giving this teaching to them. Okay. So the idea in reciting it is to reproduce the sutra with our body, speech, mind. For that, reciting requires to use our vocal cords, even if we recite quietly. However, it is especially important for the sound to be audible if pets or other animals are within earshot. So the sutra itself describes the vast benefits received by those whose ear the sutra reaches, even without understanding. So Lama Zopa explains, if you don't read the sutra out loud, you're cheating yourself and missing the chance to create the merit of speech. It is good to place your palms together in prostration while reciting, as you might if Buddha were present, addressing you directly. This is especially beneficial to do at those points where the Sangata describes the benefits of placing palms together in prostration to the Sangata. So here, yeah, in the Sangata Sutra, it does describe, there's one point where the Buddha asks, does merely placing their arms together in prostration, does that, allow the accumulation of merit? Here in the Golden Light Sutra, it does talk about, those who offer incense to the sutra. And so here in Nalanda, this new wing is I don't know if you can see, it's very nice, but it's all wood. So they don't really encourage burning incense in this place. I think there was a fire some years ago, In any case, if where you are, you can light incense and it won't create a fire hazard, by all means, you can do that. And then, yeah, people usually find it most effective to recite the sutra all at once rather than doing partial recitations or dividing the recitation into different sessions. However, since there are tremendous benefits to even reciting even one verse from the Sangata, when it's not possible to do complete recitations, it's still extremely beneficial to recite when one can as many pages as one can each time. Many people who recite it with others report they find this more powerful than reciting alone. Indeed, the merit generated by the group activities far outweighs the merit we can generate individually. There's an analogy here, like in a broom, there are the various bristles, right? So with one bristle, you can't sweep very much, but when you combine all the various bristles, then you can get a lot of sweeping done in a more effective way. So similarly, uh, I've heard it be said that, one person by themselves, let's say they recite one praise to the 21 Taras, well, they get the merit of reciting one praise. But if, 100 people come together and they each recite it one time, then I'd heard that each person in the group, they will get the merit of the entire group, you know? So everyone gets the merit of having recited 100 times. So it's very, very powerful in that way. So when we join others in positive activities, we all share in the larger pool of merit created through the group action. Thus, reciting with friends or strangers or uh, inverted commas enemies is highly recommended. Okay. So then the motivation we've gone through, yeah, bodhicitta. And then these next three contemplations are recommended when you recite teachings of the Buddha in Mahayana tradition. Okay, so we got to keep these three in mind. Think that you're reciting the Sangata, or here in this case, the Golden Light Sutra, to all the beings in the place where you are, and also to all the beings in the six realms. In fact, we are always surrounded by others, so you can extend your thoughts to all those in the surrounding areas, countries, and continents. Visualize that you're reciting directly for them for their benefit. And, in fact, there are, many, as it says, limitless in the King of Prayers, limitless is the end of space, thus limitless are sentient beings, thus limitless are karma and afflictions. May my aspirations reach be limitless as well, right? So actually, they talk of the six realms of samsara, and the beings in the bardo, as well as the hungry ghosts and hell realms, then it is said that these beings have a quite subtle physical body, such that they would be sort of extrasensory objects for us. Yet, nonetheless, um, yeah, there could be there's beings in the room where you are that are not visible to you, but you can think that you are then, teaching the sutra to them. So second, think that you're receiving the words directly from Buddha. Use your imagination to generate a strong sense that the Buddha is actually teaching you the sutra directly. And think as you hear each word recited, the meaning is actualized in your mind and you gain perfect understanding. Okay? So these three visualizations, and then gently, right, from time to time, refresh those visualizations. Okay. So with that, then we can do these preliminary prayers as well, right? So let's do that. We visualize the Buddha in front of us, surrounded by all the other bodhisattvas, uh, yeah, all the retinues. And then in the space around us, we visualize all the sentient beings. It says it's very good to visualize them in human form. And then taking refuge in generating bodhicitta. Okay, you can do this 3 times. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha Dharma Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. So now here, the seven limb prayer, you'll see this in so many of the practice texts, right? So reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. Mm. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time. So this is very important, to have a full purification practice. It has to have the 4 point powers. So we took refuge. We are now generating regret. That means seeing our negative actions is negative. And here, especially accumulated since beginningless time, means not just the ones we did in this life. So whether we did it in this life or previous lives, whether we, remember it or not, then from beginningless lifetimes, we've done everything under the sun in terms of negative actions. And so all of that, whether we remember it or not, we declare and confess those negativities. Next, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. So here in this context, the holy being are those who have direct realization of emptiness, the ultimate nature of phenomena. Ordinary beings are, like myself, without direct realization of emptiness. So knowing that merit is the cause for happiness and success, and according to our own aspiration to lead all beings to have the greatest happiness of complete enlightenment, then when we see them or hear about them or think about them accumulating merit, doing virtuous actions, then we think this is so wonderful, it's so amazing, and rejoice. So please remain until the end of psychic existence. Here we can, we're requesting our gurus to, not show the aspect of passing away, but instead remaining till the end of psychic existence. And turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. Turn the wheel of Dharma is, another way of saying teaching. And here, when we do those two limbs of the seven limb prayer, is very auspicious to then think that the Buddha, inseparable from the Guru that we're visualizing in the space in front of us, when we request that they remain till the end of psychic existence, we should think they say yes, yes, yes. And when we ask them to turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings, they also say yes, yes, yes. Okay? And then I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. Next, mandala offering. So here, mandala itself means different things in different contexts. We have the mandala in one context, it means the kind of celestial mansion of the deity, when they talk about like Kala Chakra mandala or so forth, right? Here, the mandala just means, as it is described here, Mount Meru, four continents, sun and moon. That is the traditional ancient sort of Indian depiction of the universe. So what all this means is we imagine the entire universe as a pure land and then offer that, and not just one, but many of these pure lands to the Buddha and dedicating that, all living beings enjoy this pure land means, well, on a temporary level, that all sentient beings will be born in a pure land where, the suffering doesn't exist and they have all the conditions to practice Dharma. But on a more, I guess, ultimate, fundamental level, then, we wish for all sentient beings to become enlightened. And when beings become enlightened, they establish their own pure land. So all of the Buddhas have their own particular pure land. Okay. So some are a little bit more famous than others, like Sukhavati, Amitabha Buddha Pure Land. But in any case, to then have an aspiration that all living beings enjoy the Pure Land means may all living beings, become enlightened and establish their own Pure Land. Okay. So we do this mudra. right? Which is then, helping our visualization. So here in this mudra, we have this one, the Mount Meru, and then the four continents around it. So then we think that it's not just our fingers, but it's the actual entire universe visualized on every atom, filling the entire universe. And then we make this special prayer for the three purposes. Oh, in interest of time, maybe we just do it once, right? Quality, not quantity. So please think like this. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and three precious gems. Please bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all wrong conceptions from incorrect devotion to the Guru up to the subtle dual view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and the minds of all my descending beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all my descending beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualizing the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sending beings. Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamnera Tayami. So then this mantra multiplies the merit by 1 million times. Okay. Tayata Dare Dare Bendare Soha, 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 Tayata Dare Dare Bendare Soha. Then these visualizations again. We visualize that the Buddha is giving you teaching directly, and then you visualize you are giving the teaching to sending beings as you read the sutra out loud. Okay? So we'll do like that. And then when we're finished, then you think that all the visualization, the sending beings we visualize, they're completely purified and they uh, achieve the state of enlightenment. Okay? All right. Chapter one. So you guys should know when we do this in the monastery, they recite so quickly, right? Because now it's not necessarily the time that we're trying to read for understanding, right? But we're just trying to get the imprints and create, like reproduce the sutra with our own voices. Okay. So I'll recite, a little bit quick, maybe a little bit slower than I normally do, because yeah, but yeah, anyway. Chapter one, chapter on the preamble to the King of Glory Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light. Homage to all the past, future, and present Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Prateka Buddhas, and Shravakas. Thus I have heard at one time, the Tathagata entering the Buddha's domain of experience, the profound sphere of reality, I will just speak expounded to Supreme Bodhisattvas who are pure and stainless, this King of Glory Sutra is the sublime golden light, which is extremely profound upon hearing and profound upon examination. The Buddhas in the four directions confer their blessings from Akshobhya in the east, Ranaketu in the south, Amitabha in the west, and Dundu Bisvara in the north. In order to extinguish all unwholesome deeds, I will proclaim this auspicious sublime discourse that exhausts all negative karma, grants all peace and happiness, completely eliminates suffering, which is adorned with all that is glorious, and is the foundation of omniscience, granting blessings. This I shall explain. Sending beings whose senses are defective, whose life expectancy has ended or is fading, whom the gods have turned against, who are burdened with misfortune, hated by their loved ones, or oppressed as household servants, in conflict with one another, afflicted with decline in material wealth, grief-stricken and miserable, ridden with fear and stricken by poverty, troubled by stars, planetary bodies, and fierce demonic spirits, or who see excruciating nightmares. Following grief and fatigue, they should bathe well to render themselves clean and listen to the Sublime Sutra. Should those with virtuous intent and pure mind adorn themselves well in clean garments, then listen to the sutra on the profound, the domain of Buddha's experience. Through the awe-inspiring power of the sutra, the suffering of creatures, the likes of which cannot be endured, will be forever pacified. Protection will be offered to them by the guardians of the world, their ministers and army chiefs, tens of thousands of millions of yakshas, the great goddess Sarasvati, and the goddess who dwells in the Naranjana by Hariti, the mother of Buddhas, the earth goddess Dirda, by the Brahmin kings and the kings of 33, the powerful king of serpents, king of Kinaras, king of Asuras, likewise by kings of Garudas. They with their clans and might will arrive along with their mounts unfailing day and night, offer protection to beings. I will clearly expound this sutra on the profound, the domain of Buddha's experience, the secret of all Buddha is difficult to find in tens of millions of eons. Those who hear this sutra, those who cause others to hear it, those who rejoice upon hearing and make offerings to it, for tens of millions of eons shall be venerated by gods and nagas, humans and kinnaras, asuras and yakshas, for beings without merit. The store of their merit will grow into limitless, incalculable, inconceivable mass. Fiercely, they will be protected by Buddhism in 10 directions, likewise also by bodhisattvas engaged in the profound, clad in clean garments, wearing well-perfumed clothes, possessing a mind firm with love without distraction. One should honor the sutra. Render the mind spotless, put forth effort to make it expansive and intensely clear, then listen to the sublime sutra. Those who listen to the sutra will be acclaimed among humans, attain an excellent human existence, and live a life of comfort. Those into whose ears this sublime discourse is echoed will have merit roots refined, and numerous Buddhas will extol them. This ends the first chapter. The chapter on the preamble to the King of Glory Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light. Chapter 2, the chapter on the span of Tathagata's life. Furthermore, at that time, during that period, in the great city of Rajgiriya, there dwelt the Bodhisattva, the great being, Ruchira Ketu, who had venerated previous Buddhas, cultivated roots of virtue, and rendered service to many hundreds of thousands and millions of Buddhas. He thought to himself, what cause and what conditions will cause Lord Shakyamuni to live only for 80 years? That is such a short life. Furthermore, he thought, the Lord has himself declared there are two causes and two conditions which prolong life. What are the two? They are namely renouncing killing and giving food wholly. As for the Lord Shakyamuni, he renounced killing for many incalculable hundreds of thousands of millions of eons. He perfectly adhered to the path of the 10 virtuous actions. He gave away food and external and internal objects completely. Not only that, he satisfied living beings with the flesh, blood, bones, and marrow of his own body. Then, when the sublime being entertained such thoughts with respect to the Tathagata, his house transformed into a vast and expansive palace made of lapis lazuli, embellished with numerous divine jewels, its color transformed by the Tathagata and filled with perfumes surpassing those of gods. In the 4 directions emerged 4 thrones made of divine jewels. These thrones came to be covered with mats of divine jewels and fine cotton raiment. And on those thrones appeared divine lotuses adorned with numerous jewels, their color transformed by the Tathagata. From those lotuses arose 4 transcendent Victor Buddhas. In the east appeared the Tathagata Akshobhya, in the south appeared the Tathagata Ratnaketu. In the west appeared the Tathagata Amitayus, and in the north appeared the Tathagata Dundu Bishvara. When those Tathagata appeared on those lion thrones, the great city of Rajgriha was filled with bright light. That light pervaded all the triple thousand, great thousand world systems in the 10 directions, and world systems as many as grains of sand in the Ganges River. In addition, divine flowers rained down and divine music resounded through the power of the Buddha. All sentient beings in the triple thousand, great thousand worlds too became possessed of the joy of the gods. Beings whose senses were incomplete became possessed of complete senses. Beings blind from birth saw forms with the eyes, deaf beings heard sound with the ears, insane beings regained their sanity. Distracted beings became focused. Naked beings became clothed in garments. Hungry beings became full bellied. Thirsty beings were clenched. Beings afflicted with illness became free of disease. Beings whose bodily organs were defective became possessed of complete organs. Many astounding events took place in the world. Upon seeing those Buddhas, the Bodhisattva Ruchiraketu was greatly astounded. He was satiated, pleased, joyful, and delighted, feeling happy and ecstatic. With hands folded in the direction of the Tathagatas, he bowed in homage, remembering those Tathagatas, then reflecting on the qualities of Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha, he was vexed with misgiving about the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha. He wondered, how is it that the Lord Shakyamuni will live a brief life of only 80 years? Those Tathagatas, while knowing and realizing his thoughts, spoke to him thus, O child, noble family, do not think. The Lord Shakyamuni will have such a short lifespan. Why? Because, O child of noble family, except for the perfectly and fully enlightened conqueror Tathagatas, we do not see among the world of gods, Mars, or Brahmas, among ascetics, Brahmins, gods, humans, or asuras, anyone who could perceive the furthest future reaches of the lifespan of the Tathagata Lord Shakyamuni. As soon as those Tathagatas expressed this observation on the lifespan of Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha, then by the power of this Tathagata, the gods residing in the desire and form realms, including Nagas, Yakshas, Gandharas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, and Mahoragas, as well as numerous hundreds of thousands and millions of bodhisattvas, gathered and went to the house of the Bodhisattva Lutra Ketu. Then those Tathagatas proclaim in verse this explanation of the lifespan of Tathagata Shakyamuni to the entire gathering. The drops of water in all the ocean can be measured, but no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. To the finest particle, the atoms of Mount Sumeru can be gauged, but no one can gauge the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number of finest particles existing on Earth can be measured, but not the span of the conqueror's life. Through some device, one may wish to measure space, but no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number cannot be found that explains the full enlightened Buddha lives this long, this many eons in eon terms, such as 100 million eons. There are two causes and two conditions for this: renouncing deadly violence and repeatedly giving plentiful food. The finite count of the lifespan of this great being that explains he who lived this many eons cannot be found. The eons are indeed uncountable. Hence, have no doubt, not even the slightest doubt, the finite limit of the conqueror's life is not observed anywhere. Then, at a time in the assembly, the Brahmin teacher and expounder called Kaldinya, along with numerous hundreds of thousands of Brahmins, venerated the Tathagata, on hearing the voice of those great Tathagatas completely beyond sorrow. They gathered in that place at once. Bowing at the feet of the Tathagata, the Brahmin, a teacher and expounder of Kaldinya, said to the Tathagata, if the Lord transcendent victor is merciful to all beings, compassionate and desirous of serving, apparent to all, equal to the unequaled, illuminating like the moon, wisdom and knowledge glowing like the sun, if you look upon all beings as upon your son Rahula, then please give me some guidance. The Tathagata remained silent. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Tathagata, in that assembly, a confidence grew in a Levichi youth called Sarva Loka Priya Darshana, and he spoke thus to the Brahmin teacher and expounder Kaudinya. Why did you seek guidance, great Brahmin, from the Buddha? I will give you the guidance you seek. The Brahmin said, for the sake of honoring the Buddha, Levachi youth, the Chavi youth. And for the sake of receiving a share of relic powder, I wish to have a relic of the Buddha the size of a mustard seed. It is said that if one honors a relic the size of a mustard seed, one attains lordship over the gods of the 33. Listen, O Lichavi youth, to the King of Glory Sujasvam Golden Light, which has features and qualities such as being difficult for all Shravakas and practical Buddhists to know and comprehend. O Lichavi youth, the Sutra of Sublime Golden Light is in this way difficult to know and difficult to comprehend. Hence, we Brahmins in remote areas wish to have a relic the size of a mustard seed, which, when held, either placed in a bowl or kept on the body, causes living beings to attain lordship over the gods of the 33. Why wouldn't you, or Lichavi youth, wish to receive a relic the size of mustard seed from Tathagata and keep it in an urn, so that living beings may attain lordship over the gods of the 33? O Lichavi youth, I seek such a boon. Then Sarva Loka Priya Darshana, Lichavi youth, replied in verse to the Brahmin teacher and expounded Kaudinya. When white lilies grow in the Ganges with currents, when crows become red and cuckoos turn the color of conch, when palm fruit grows on the rose apple tree and on the date tree mango forms, at that time a relic the size of a mustard seed will appear, when from tortoise hair cloth shielding winter's bite can be woven well, then there will be a relic. When from the legs of gnats, multi-story towers can be well built, solidly firm and never shaking, then there will be a relic. When all leeches grow white teeth, sharp and big, then there will be a relic. When from the horns of rabbits, ladders can be built well in order to climb high, then there will be a relic. Climbing this ladder, should a mouse eat the moon and harm Rahu as well, then there will be a relic. When the bees that buzz in towns drink a pitcher of wine and make a dwelling in a house, then there will be a relic. When donkeys become happy, well versed in singing and dancing, their lips ruddy like the bimba fruit, then there will be a relic. When owls and crows flock to solitude, frolic together, and become friendly, then there will be a relic. When the leaves of a palasha tree become an umbrella made of three jewels that keeps out rain, there then be a relic. When large ocean vessels fitted with turning devices and sails float and set sail on land, then there will be a relic. When owls move freely, lifting the Dana mountain in their beaks, then there will be a relic. After hearing these verses, the Brahmin teacher and expounder Kaudinya explained to Sarvaloka Priya Darshana, the Lichavi youth, excellent, excellent, supreme youth, the son of Buddha, great orator, heroic and skillful. It means you have received the sublime prophecy. Listen to me, O youth, concerning the inconceivable greatness of the Tathagata, the protector and savior of the world. The realm of the Buddha is inconceivable, and the Tathagatas are peerless. All Buddhas are ever serene. All Buddhas are perfectly emerged. All Buddhas are of the same hue. This is the suchness of the Buddhas. The Lord transcendent victor is uncontrived. The Tathagata is unborn. His body, hard as a vajra, manifests emanated forms. Thus, no relic small as a mustard seed of the great sage is to be found. Since his body is without blood and bone, how can there be a relic? Yet, to benefit living beings, skillfully relics are formed. Dharmakaya, the complete Buddha, Dharmadhatu, the Tathagata, akin to the teaching of the Dharma. These are the body of the Lord's. Because I heard and knew this, I sought the sublime gift. To make this truth plain and clear, thus I initiated this discourse. Then, having heard such profound explanations of the Tathagata's span of life, all 32,000 sons of the gods entered generate altruistic resolve for the peerless and perfect enlightenment, the minds filled with intense joy, they spoke these verses in a single voice. The Buddha does not enter complete nirvana, neither does the Dharma cease to be. Yet for the ripening of beings, Tathagata is manifest, passing beyond suffering. The transcendent victor Buddha is inconceivable, though the Tathagata's body is permanent. It pervades a multitude of forms for the welfare of sinning beings. Having heard these discourses explaining the lifespan of Tathagata, Shakyamuni Buddha from these Tathagatas, and the two great beings, the Bodhisattva Richipaketu, was thoroughly satiated, pleased, extremely delighted and filled with joy. He was overwhelmed by great bliss of mind while this discourse on the Tathagata's span of life was being given. Inconceivable, countless sending beings generated altruistic resolve for peerless and perfect enlightenment. Then those Tathagatas vanished in that very spot. This ends the second chapter, the chapter on the span of the Tathagata's life from the King of Glory Sutras, the Sublime Golden Light. Just one bit of commentary to mention. So this Bodhisattva, or Savaloka Priyadarshana, the Lichavi youth, it is said in one of the commentaries that that's actually the previous life of Arya Nagarjuna. So, yeah, okay. Chapter 3, the chapter on seeing the dream. Then the Bodhisattva Ruchiraketu slid into sleep. He dreamed he saw a golden drum, its light shining like the orb of the sun in every direction. Countless inconceivable numbers of Tathagatas were preaching the Dharma, seated on lavish thrones at the foot of jeweled trees, completely surrounded by numerous hundreds of thousands of retinues. Then he saw a being in the form of Brahman beating that drum. From the sound of the drum, these and similar confessional verses issued forth. Then the Bodhisattva Richipaketu awoke and remembered those verses at once. Having remembered those verses when night came to an end, he, along with many thousands of beings, left the great city of Vajgariya. He arrived at Vulture's Peak, where the Tathagata was. Having reached there, he prostrated himself at the feet of the Tathagata, circumambulated the Tathagata 3 times, and sat to one side. Sitting to one side, the Bodhisattva Ketu bowed to the Tathagata with hands folded in respect and recited those confessional verses he heard coming forth from the drum. Descends the third chapter. Chapter on seeing the dream from the King's Glory Sutras from Golden Light. Chapter 4. Chapter on confession. Um, okay, so I'll mention. So we're going to, yeah, just finish at the end of this chapter. This chapter you'll see toward the end is a very beautiful aspiration. And so already think about this like the dedicating all of our merit accumulated in the past, all the merit we're accumulating in the present, and all the merit we're accumulating in the future. It's also worth mentioning in the section on purifying merit, Lama Tsongkhapa himself in the Lamrim Chenmo mentions the 35 Buddhas practice, and then this confession chapter from the Golden Light Sutra as the two ways to, yeah, most effectively purify negativities. And then also later in Lamrim Chenmo, he mentions that these aspirations, you'll see, very, very, very beautiful. He also recommends that we use these to help increase our bodhicitta practice. Okay? So, chapter 4, chapter on confession. One night without distraction, I dreamed a vivid dream. I saw a large and beautiful drum filling the world with golden light and glowing like the sun, beaming brightly to all places. It was seen from 10 directions. Everywhere Buddhas were seated on thrones of precious lapis. At the foot of jeweled trees facing assemblies of many hundreds of thousands, I saw a form like that of a Brahmin fiercely beat upon the drum when he struck it. These verses issued forth by the sound of the majestic drum of golden light. May the suffering of lower migration, yama, and the poverty of the 3 realms of the triple thousand worlds cease to be by the sound of the majestic drum. May the ignorance of the worlds be dispelled with fears quelled. Just as vanquishing stages are unafraid, may ascending beings become fearless and brave. Just as the omniscient vanquishing sage in the world is possessed of every excellence of the Aryas, may countless beings too possess ocean of qualities, concentration, and the wings of enlightenment. By the sound of this majestic drum, may all beings be endowed with the melody of Brahma. May they touch the sublime enlightenment of Buddhas. May they turn the virtuous wheel of Dharma. Remaining for inconceivable eons, may they teach the Dharma to guide migrating beings. Conquering delusion and overcoming affliction, may their attachment, hatred, and ignorance be pacified. May sending beings who have fallen to lower migrations, whose bodies of bone are alight with blazing flame, hear the speech of this majestic drum. May the proclamation, homage to the Tathagata, be heard. In the course of hundreds of births and tens of thousands of millions of births, by remembering, may every being remember their former lives. Hear these teachings completely and always recall vanquishing sages. By the sound of the majestic drum, may beings always find the company of Buddhas. Through renouncing every harmful act, may they engage only in virtuous deeds. For humans, gods, and creatures, whatever thoughts and wishes they have, may every wish be totally fulfilled by the sound of this majestic drum. May beings born in the most terrible hells, bodies alight with blazing flame, who wander without aim, bereft of refuge, filled with grief, may their tormenting fires utterly end. For those who bear the suffering of humans, for hell beings, animals, hungry ghosts, may every suffering be completely dispelled by the sound of this majestic drum. For those who are without refuge, without base support or friend, may I become their supreme refuge, their base support and friend. Supreme among bipeds, O Buddhas, willing in 10 directions, with merciful, compassionate mind, please pay attention to me. O Buddhas, possessed of 10 powers, those terrible, wicked acts I committed in the past, before your eyes I confess them all. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, not holding parents as parents, not holding Buddhas as Buddhas, not upholding virtuous deeds, whatever unwholesome actions I've done, haughty with the vanity of wealth, haughty with age and youthfulness, haughty with pride of affluence and class, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done through harmful thoughts, harmful words, and thought of harm as harmless and harmful actions done, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, acting with the mind of a child, mind dark with ignorance or under the sway of non-virtuous friend, rarely charged with emotion, discontent with wealth, afflicted with depression and malaise, or under the impulse of frivolous play. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, through mixing with vile characters of non-Aryas, through jealousy and miserliness, and through poverty and guile. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, whatever when poverty came to me, fearing loss of the desirable and stricken with a dearth of material goods. Whatever unwholesome deeds I have done under the power of flighty mind, ruled by desire and hatred, or oppressed by hunger and thirst. Whatever unwholesome deeds I have done, or when oppressed by affliction for the sake of pursuing women, or acquiring food, drink, and attire through the misdeeds of body, speech, and mind, I amassed threefold wrong acts. In these three ways, whatever I've done, these deeds I confess in full. Whatever I've done disrespecting the Buddhas, the Dharma, and Shravakas too, these deeds I confess in full. Actions I have done lacking respect to Pratyeka Buddhas as well as to Bodhisattvas, these deeds I confess in full. Disrespect I have shown to those who preach Dharma, likewise contempt of the Dharma itself, these deeds I confess in full. Continually unaware of its benefit, I have rejected the sublime Dharma. I have shown unwitting insolence to parents, these deeds I confess in full. Childish and veiled by stupidity, blind with desire and hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and pride, these deeds I confess in full. Honoring those who possess 10 powers, I shall worship those dwelling in all 10 directions, in all directions. I shall deliver sending beings inhabiting every realm from all suffering. I shall place uncountable beings upon the Bodhisattva's 10 grounds, abiding in these 10 stages. May they all become Tathagatas, until I am capable of freeing them all from countless oceans of suffering. For 10 million eons, I shall strive for the sake of even one sinning being. To these sinning beings, I shall reveal the Sutra called Sublime Golden Light, which rids one of every harmful misdeeds and expounds upon the profound those who for 1,000 eons committed deadly unwholesome deeds, by confessing them earnestly once through the sutra, all will be pacified. Swiftly and wholly consuming all karmic obscurations by making confession through the sublime golden light, I shall abide on 10 bodhisattvas' grounds, those minds of supreme precious jewels, that I may shine with Tathaga's marks and signs and free beings from the ocean of existence. Through Buddhas, who are the water of oceans, their inconceivable Tathagata's qualities, akin to the ocean's profound depth, I shall evolve into an omniscient being. Becoming a Buddha, I shall possess 10 powers, hundreds of thousands of concentrations, inconceivable magical mantra incantations, enlightenment, 7 wings, the 5 powers and 5 forces. O Buddhas who continue to look upon beings, I request you gaze intensely upon me. Your compassionate minds, always overflowing, may you hold the remorseful always near. Due to countless sinful actions performed in hundreds of eons past, my mind is pierced and stricken with grief, wretchedness, sorrow, and fear. Solemnly fearing my unwholesome deeds, I shall always keep my mind modest. Whenever I succumb to the smallest action, I will not succumb to frivolous excitement. Since Buddhas are compassionate and dispel the fright of all beings, I entreat them to hold their remorseful fast and free us from every fear. May the Tathagatas keep at bay my negative karma and emotion. May the Buddhas always bathe me with the water of their compassion. I confess all unwholesome deeds, whatever I've done in the past, whatever is done in the present, these deeds I confess in full. I shall not conceal or hide harmful actions I have done. In future times, I shall refrain from deeds that render me full of shame. 3 actions of the body, fourfold of the voice, threefold of the mind. These deeds I confess in full. Actions I have done through my body and speech, clearly impelled by the mind. Those tenfold actions I accomplished. These deeds I confess in full. Renouncing the 10 unwholesome deeds and cultivating the 10 which are moral, I will come to abide on the 10 grounds and acquire the Buddha's 10 great powers. Every unwholesome deed I have done that leads to unwanted results in the presence of the Buddhas, that these deeds I confess in full. In the wholesome, virtuous deeds of all those dwelling in Jambudvipa, and those living under the walls too, in these deeds I rejoice. Whatever merit I have gathered through body, speech, and mind, by the force of this virtue's ripening effect, may supreme enlightenment be attained. These deeds committed on samsara's precarious wheel those actions influenced by a childish mind, approaching the presence of the peerless ten powers. All these deeds I confess individually through feeble birth, feeble existence, feeble world, and feeble volatile mind. Multitudes of physical actions, the mass of deeds I confess in full. Wretched with delusion of the childish and foolish, wretched with associating with non-virtuous friend, wretched with existence, wretched with desire, wretched with hatred, wretched with ignorance, wretched with fatigue, wretched with virtue, with time, and wretched in accomplishing virtue. I approach the incomparable conquerors and confess all negativities individually. I prostrate to the Buddha's ocean of virtue, going like Mount Sumeru, going for refuge. I bow my head in prostration to the golden conquerors. Their compassionate light dispels the double mantle of darkness. Buddhas are sons, blazing glory, splendor and renown, golden color, eyes fine as pure faultless lapis. They glow with the glitter of pure gold. Their exquisite and beautiful limbs are utterly flawless and perfectly formed. From pristine limbs, the Buddha's sun radiates shaft of golden light. Consumed by the flame of negative passion, sentient beings blaze like fire. They are refreshed and soothed by the moonlike light of the Buddha's 32 major marks, render their senses exquisitely refined. The awe-inspiring limbs are graced by 80 minor signs, filled with merit and glory, like splendid rays of spinning light. They orbit as does the sun in darkness of triple realms. Pure as lapis with an array of rich color, exquisitely adorned by myriad webs of light. Your limbs resemble the crystal silver and crimson of dawn. Like the son of sages, you are enchantingly glorious. For those fallen into the great river of psychic existence, tossed amidst crushing waves of sorrow and death, may abundant, immense rays of the sun that is the Tathagata deplete the ocean of samsara, violent and cruel. With limbs shining brightly the color of gold, their wisdom source peerless among three realms. Their limbs are adorned with intensely charming marks. I prostrate to the Buddhas whose bodies sparkle gold. Just as water in the ocean cannot be measured, just as dust on earth is utterly without end, just as Mount Sumeru possesses matchless stone, and the edge of space is infinitely unknown. Likewise, the virtues of the Buddhas are limitless. If sentient beings took the measure of their qualities and for countless eons reflected upon them, still the extent of their virtue cannot be seen. If counted for eons, one may possibly know water droplets at hair ends, or particles of earth, mountains, oceans, and rocks, but not the limit of Buddha's virtue. May sentient beings evolve into such Buddhas, graced with virtue, color, fame, renown. The body is embellished with major marks of goodness and the sublime 80 minor signs. Through these virtuous actions, I shall soon become a Buddha on this earth. Preaching the darkness that guides the world, I shall free beings forever afflicted by suffering. I shall triumph over Mara with his might, army and might. I shall turn the wheel of virtuous Dharma. Abiding for inconceivable eons, I shall satisfy sending beings with the water of Dharma nectar. Just the conquerors of past completed six perfections. These perfections I too shall fully achieve. My ignorance, hatred, and desire pacify. I shall conquer delusion and dispel pain. I shall always remember my former births, hundreds of existences, and 10 millions of lives. Always recalling the vanquishing sages, I shall listen to their teaching in full. Through these virtuous actions, I shall always find the company of Buddhas, accomplishing virtue, the source of every excellence. I shall thoroughly renounce unwholesome deeds. May the creatures of samsara, various realms, be at peace without the misery of their worlds. May beings who lack sense faculties or hold defective ones be endowed with powers complete. For beings feeble in body, afflicted with disease, and in all 10 directions devoid of defense, may they swiftly and be free of their ailments, obtain perfect senses, strength, and good health. For those imperiled by threats and death from kings or thugs, tormented by numerous hundreds of afflictions, may these beings, wretched, weak with sorrow, be free from hundreds of horrific fears. For those who are tortured, bound, beaten, distressed by passion, or captured by delusion, may these beings, fearful, faced with sorrow, be freed from the shackles of bondage. May those who are beaten find freedom from beating. May those facing murder be endowed with life. May those who are feeble be without fear. May the beings tortured by hunger, craving, and thirst immediately find a wealth of food and drink. May the blind see an abundance of forms, and deaf hear captivating sounds. May the naked find plentiful attire, and the poor find mines of treasure. Through wealth of riches, grains, and jewels, may beings be endowed with serenity and joy. May no being face the pain of affliction. May all beings be attractive and handsome, endowed with exquisite, beautiful, auspicious forms. May every life be replete with infinite joy. As soon as they wish, may there immediately be food, drink, great affluence, and merit. Large drums, lutes, and piwang, springs, pools, water holes, and ponds, imbued with blue and golden lotuses. Likewise, may they receive at once food, drink, clothing, and wealth, gems like lapis, golden ornaments, pearls, and jewels. May no sound of woe be heard anywhere in the world, and not one being in poor health be seen. Instead, may beings have great complexion in each other's radiance, and may they mutually shine. Whatever forms of excellence there are in the human world, whatever they are wished for, may these come to be the moment they arise to the ripening of virtue. May the aspirations of sinning beings be fulfilled. May perfumed incense, garlands, ointments, clothing, powder, abundant flowers rain down from the trees 3 times. Thus may sinning beings be filled with joy. May they venerate inconceivable Tathagatas abiding, oh sorry, in all 10 directions, completing Bodhisattva Shravakas, and likewise the flawless, pristine Dharma. May migrating beings avoid lower realms. May they go beyond the 8 unfortunate states. May they attain the 8 auspicious conditions. May meetings with Buddhas always be received. Always born in higher classes, may beings be replete with wealth and with grain. For numerous eons, may they be endowed with great form, renown, complexion, and fame. May all women become like men, heroic, learned, lucid, strong, endeavoring to complete the 6 perfections. May they incessantly strive for supreme enlightenment. May they come to behold Buddhas in 10 directions seated upon various precious lapis thrones. Under bejeweled, exquisite, stately trees, may they hear the Buddha's Dharma explained. Unwholesome deeds are performed and created in wretched uh unwholesome deeds are performed and created in wretched existence past. May those negative effects which ripen due to deeds be completely extinguished. May those beings who are tied to existence, tightly bound by the rope of cyclic round, unravel their bondage with wisdom hand and quickly be freed from all suffering. Whatever beings here in Jambadipa and other world spheres too perform profound virtuous acts. In these deeds I rejoice in full. Through the merit of actions of body, speech, and mind, and through rejoicing in others' virtue, may every fruit of my prayers and practice unfold. May pristine, peerless enlightenment be attained. Those who recite this dedication, who prostrate and praise with unsoiled mind, always devout and free of stains, shall avoid terrible rebirth for 60 eons. By reciting these prayers and verses, men, women, Brahmin royals who praise the conqueror with folded hands, remember their births in every life. They shall receive bodies adorned with complete limbs and senses, myriads, merits, and virtue. Lord of human will honor them always. Such will they be in each place of birth. Those into whose ears this confession enters have not performed virtue under just one Buddha, not two, not four, not five, not 10, nor in the presence of merely 1,000 Buddhas have they completed virtue. This ends the fourth chapter, the chapter on confession from the King of Glory Sutras, the Sublime Golden Light. Okay, so remember, when we finish reciting, visualize that the sending beings we've been reciting the sutra to are all liberated from the causes of suffering. The causes of the delusions are purified and they all become enlightened. Okay, so let's do this. Prepare for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. We can do it in English. Hmm. Peerless teacher and assembly of children, victorious ones, Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with lineage masters, all the objects of refuge in infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged, incomparable. The Venerable Guru, to you I make request, while striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious ones, teaching the soul gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge for and from other living beings. You suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of three jewels, may and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left. Um, I had sort of mentioned that we would have time for questions, so maybe we have time for one question. Okay. If not, that's also okay. Um, so why don't we do a more general dedication? So just like we motivated at the beginning, right? We motivated for the benefit of all sentient beings so that we can achieve enlightenment, so we can lead them to that state as well. So now we dedicate thinking due to all the merit that we've accumulated in our time here today, as well as all the merit accumulated in the past, in the present, and in the future, not only by ourselves, but all sentient beings and all the Buddhas uh, may first this mind of bodhicitta be generated in our hearts and the hearts of all sentient beings without any seconds delay, and may the bodhicitta that has already been generated may it only increase. Then we also dedicate for yeah, after sentient beings achieve the mind of bodhicitta, then may all of the problems, proximate causes of suffering in the world, suffering due to war, suffering due to environmental degradation, suffering due to natural disasters, suffering due to yeah, economic problems, in short, all the causes of mental and physical suffering that there are in the world, may these instantly be pacified, and then may all beings, yeah, due to the three-time merit killed by ourselves, as well as all three-time merit killed by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, may they always be guided by perfectly qualified Mahan and virtuous friends in all their future lifetimes. May they only do actions most pleasing to the minds of the virtuous friend, and thus, yeah, achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible. And then more generally, may all the holy gurus showing the yeah, complete path, unmistaken path to enlightenment, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May all of the holy gurus in the world have long and stable lives and continue to guide us and teach us and lead us to enlightenment. Hmm. Then, for all of the various centers and projects of FPMT, particular, yeah, Tushita and Dharamsala, Nalanda Monastery here in south of France, all the other centers and projects around the world, may they have all the obstacles removed and receive all the required conditions such that they can be, you know, successful in fulfilling the vision and wishes of Lama Rinpoche as well as His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So with that, time is up. We did 4 chapters and yeah, it was good. Now, I strongly do this to you and say during these days of miracles, if you can complete the rest of the sutra, then it's so wonderful. You'll get the merit of reciting it 100 million times. Okay? So there's yeah, maybe 10 days left. Yeah, más o menos. So please try to um yeah, finish this sutra in these days of miracles. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Venerable Namjong La. Wow, thank you so much. It was very wonderful. And I'm just looking if there is any question. No, no. So we let you off to a rest. Here we
Yes.
go, the doggy and you. Thank you so much for joining us, for leading us in this wonderful practice. And yes, for all your words, of course, Rinpoche's spirit, was right there. So thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest today. Not too much jet lag because now it's, what time is it now in
It's
Hawaii? 1.5 hours later, 5 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Jane says
I
yes.
don't know where I am.
He's doing
Yeah.
the thumbs up. Yeah, you don't
Okay.
think about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everybody joining us today from Hawaii at 3:30 in the morning. I'm very impressed, very inspired. How wonderful. And many of you I know they're in America, so it's very early. They're in the other Americas. And then in Nalanda, it's just afternoon now, and here in India, we are almost ready to go to bed. So thank you so much for joining us for another wonderful Days of Miracles. And we have another, yes, 9 days to go. Yes, so tomorrow we have Jitsuma Tenzin Palmo joining us. Very special because she stopped teaching, but she made a little exception for us to give her online teaching at 5:30. It will be a question and answer, and she will be live. Yeah, so at 5:30 Indian time, please join us. Beforehand, we are watching here at Tushita the cave in the snow, yeah, about her life. And we put the link already on our social media, on our website, so that you can also watch that video and also the nature of mind. Yeah, we often show it at Tushita during introductory courses. If you have done one, you will remember it because it's always, yeah, it's the last evening before the course finishes. A lot of people find that very moving. The nature of mind. Yeah, so the links are there and you can watch it. And then 5:30 we have Jitsuma with us live on Zoom. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you so much, Venerable Namjong La, and enjoy your time in Nalanda. I'm sure it will be very beneficial. It's a wonderful monastery. And see you soon in India. Please, please, please join us in person very soon, Venerable Namjong La. Please, please,
Okay.
please.
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah.
Don't give up on us.
N never. Never, never.
We need you in India, Shantiji, isn't it? We need
Yes.
these amazing Sarah teachers. Please, please, please don't all run away. Yes, the centers in India need you. Please, please. Thank you so much and
Okay.
see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.